Hey there, what is up, mortals? It is zor-el here with a new video for you. Welcome to Season 1, Part 7 of What If the Big Three Were in 1A. Just wanted to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax. You're in for a treat. So, we begin. Look out! Mirio Togata yelled. His classmate, Shoto Todoroki, heard the warning and leapt aside just in time to avoid getting hit by a boulder. Todoroki whirled around and used his quirk to encase the villain who had attacked him in a giant block of ice. Nice work, Mirio said. He held his hand up for a high five. Todoroki just turned and walked away. Mirio shrugged and clapped his hands together. Todoroki wasn't the most social, but he sure was strong. The guy had taken out way more villains than Mirio. Although Mirio disagreed with some of Todoroki's methods. Nah, that's what you get for your dad being Endeavor and stuff. He used his ice quirk to trap the villains, then proceeded to taunt and threaten them. Okay, yeah, that does make more sense why he's not as happy. Not the route Mirio would have gone with, but it was effective, at least. They had learned that the villains had infiltrated the USJ to draw All Might out. Todoroki and Mirio had agreed that the best course of action was to try and make it back to their teachers to inform them of the situation and see if they could help somehow. Boy, I hope Tamaki and Nejire are okay, Mirio muttered. I'm sure they can handle themselves, Todoroki said in his monotone voice. Mirio was shocked. The guy had barely spoken before. Was this the start of a conversation? How do you think the others are doing? Mirio asked. I mean, we all got warped to different places, right? Where could they be? With any luck, some were placed in areas where their quirks are more effective, Todoroki said. The villains obviously had no idea what powers we all possess. Good point, Mirio said. So, do you think we should still make our way back to the entrance? That seems like the best course of action, Todoroki responded. He quietly led the way. Something about this guy seemed familiar to Mirio. The way he silently observed people, the fact that he had such a powerful quirk. He was kind of like Tamaki. That is, if Tamaki had more confidence. The two trekked through the difficult areas of the USJ, trying to get back to where this whole ordeal started. They didn't come across any more of their classmates, but they did stumble on more villains. All were either quickly taken down with Todoroki's ice or subdued by Mirio. All he had to do was phase through their attacks, then knock them out, or let Todoroki freeze them. Hey, we make a great team, Mirio said. Todoroki looked at him. There was something unreadable in his eyes. Without comment, he turned and started forward again. It's not far now. Mirio sighed. Well, now wasn't the time for making friends anyway. Jogging towards the entrance, they both heard the sounds of battle at the same time. Mirio and Todoroki sprinted around a corner, and there was All Might. He was battling some sort of thing. Mirio couldn't tell if it was the guy's quirk or if it just wasn't human. Either way, it was strong. All Might looked to be in pain. Standing to the side were Mr. Aizawa, the leader of the villains, Shigaraki, and the Warp Gate villain, Kurogiri. Kurogiri made his move and trapped All Might in his vortex. Oh no, Mirio whispered in shock. He strained to go faster, but he knew that he and Todoroki wouldn't make it in time. There was a shout. Izuku Midoriya joined the fray. He attacked Kurogiri, distracting him. Mirio and Todoroki kept running. They needed backup. An explosion reverberated through the USJ. Katsuki Bakugo showed up. He saved Midoriya in the nick of time and attacked Kurogiri. Mirio blinked in shock. A bunch of his classmates were arriving and helping each other. Kirishima was there, and Nejire, Sue, Mineta, Ojiro, and Tamaki! Thank goodness they were okay. Mirio started noticing more and more of his classmates. There were some by 13, and for the most part, they looked to be safe, but both 13 and Mr. Aizawa were in rough shape. In a burst of speed, Todoroki moved forward. He stomped his right foot on the ground. Ice shot forward and encased the creature All Might was fighting. Mirio caught up to the others. In one movement, he phased through the ground underneath the fray and popped up on the other side near Mr. Aizawa. His teacher wasn't looking too good, but at least he was still conscious. Mirio quickly moved him to a safer spot. Hey, Teach, Mirio said. Mind if I tap in? Mr. Aizawa managed a weak laugh. Go for it, kid. Sue and Mineta came over. They each grabbed hold of Mr. Aizawa and helped to take him away from the battle. Mirio was about to help, but was distracted by voices shouting. He turned around and saw that the creature had broken out of Todoroki's ice prison. It and All Might started trading blows again. "Stay back!" All Might warned. Mirio watched in awe as All Might seemed to go into warp speed. Punch after punch sent shockwaves through the entire area. It was all Mirio and the others could do to hold their ground. Finally, All Might landed the biggest punch of them all. Giving a battle cry, he sent the creature soaring through the air straight out of the USJ. It was incredible. Mirio stood in shock for a moment before he realized that the danger wasn't over yet. Shigaraki and Kurogiri were still left. This video is sponsored by Grubhub. With more than 3,000 store locations, Grubhub offers on-demand convenience delivery across the country. You can search for restaurant by cuisine or location, quickly order food from the menu, and track your order from the app, all hassle-free and without any extra charges. Grubhub charges less than other food delivery services, allowing you to get the best value for your money. With Grubhub Plus, you can get free delivery purchases for 10 meals every month on orders of $12 or more for only $9.99 a month. That's not all. You can use the code AFF25 to save 25% off your first mobile order of $15 or more. This code is for a limited time, so again, get 25% off your first mobile order of $15 or more now if you use the code AFF25. Check the link in the description, and thank you again to Grubhub for sponsoring the video. Now, back to the show! Brace yourself, Mirio whispered to his friends. Midoriya was the first one to make a move. He rushed to where All Might was and took a defensive stance. It was almost comical to see how small he was compared to the #1 hero, but Midoriya held his ground. Mirio stayed behind to defend Tsu and Mineta as they led Mr. Aizawa away. Tamaki joined him. He had a bandage around his arm and his lip was bleeding, but he still looked ready for action. Nejire walked up behind him. She looked a little worse for wear, but she hadn't lost her smile. Ojiro, Kirishima, and Bakugo stayed in between the two groups and prepared to fight. Todoroki stood off to the side, watching and waiting for an opening. Shigaraki scratched viciously at his face and neck. The guy was insane. He kept saying how this wasn't fair and All Might cheated. It didn't make any sense to Mirio. He saw Kurogiri move forward to attack. Before he knew what he was doing, Mirio rushed into the fray. He pushed Midoriya out of the way as Kurogiri tried to use his warp gate. Midoriya stumbled out of range, and Mirio phased through to the ground to avoid the attack. Nejire and Tamaki went to take down Shigaraki while Kirishima, Ojiro, and Bakugo joined Midoriya and Mirio in helping All Might. Bakugo was able to pin down Kurogiri. Kirishima and Ojiro stood by as backup. Nejire blasted Shigaraki with an energy wave. He slid backwards and fell to his knees. That was oddly easy. Insert staples button here.
That was
Mirio
easy.
jogged over as Tamaki used his tentacles to bind Shigaraki. The villain looked awful. His head was hanging low and there was an air of defeat about him. Why was this guy so full of hate? Shigaraki slumped over and landed on his side. Nejire looked at him worriedly. Did I hit him too hard? Mirio cautiously bent down and tried to get a look at Shigaraki. It was hard to tell if he was okay. He didn't seem to be breathing. Uh-oh, Mirio said. He was contemplating about what to do when Shigaraki's hand shot out. He was a centimeter away from grabbing Mirio when suddenly ice encased Shigaraki's entire body from his feet to his shoulders. Todoroki strode up to them. You let your guard down. Whew, thanks, buddy, Mirio said. I apologize if you were hurt, Todoroki addressed Tamaki. From what I've seen of your quirk, though, the things you manifest aren't actually a part of your body. Yeah, Tamaki said. He detached the tentacles from his fingers. I'm all good. Hold still, you stupid villain! Bakugo yelled. Mirio looked over to see Kurogiri struggling underneath Bakugo's grip. Bakugo let out a series of explosions, but that didn't deter Kurogiri. We should help, Mirio said. He started to get up, but then heard a cracking sound. Shigaraki was using his quirk to break the ice. He and Kurogiri freed themselves at the same time. Mirio braced himself for the ultimate chaos, But then gunfire echoed throughout the USJ. Everyone's attention snapped to the door where Tenya Ida was leading a group of pro-heroes. Yes! Nejire cried. No! Shigaraki screamed. He lunged for the nearest student, Kirishima, but was stopped by a volley of bullets. Seeing that his leader was injured, Kurogiri made a warp gate and teleported himself and Shigaraki away. And just like that, it was over. Mirio slumped to the ground. Nejire and Tamaki collapsed beside him. What a day! Nejire exclaimed. Mirio looked around at all the students. Yeah, I think everyone's good, he said. Well, except for some minor injuries. His eyes went to Midoriya. He was still standing next to All Might. His arm wasn't looking too good. Maybe it was broken. Before he could go over to help, multiple pros arrived to escort the students out. Mirio was told that Midoriya would be fine and that he could go back to school soon. He just needed rest. The rest of the day passed by in a blur. Class 1A had a quick debriefing, and then they were allowed to go home. All the students were chattering excitedly about what had happened. Some were pretending to be brave, but others didn't hold back on how scared they'd been. Well, I knew everything was going to be okay, Toru Hagakure said. It was hard to tell since she was invisible, but it looked like she was skipping. After all, I was by Todoroki the entire time. He's so strong. And Mirio was there too. I had absolutely nothing to worry about. Mirio smiled at her. For sure. Then he turned around and whispered to Todoroki. Did you know she was there? Todoroki stared into space. Nope, he said. Mirio stood off to the side, watching the others walk away. Tamaki and Nejire walked over and the three of them started their way home. Wait till I tell my dad about this, Mirio said. You sure you want to tell him everything? Tamaki said. Yeah, maybe you should tone down the dangerous stuff, Nejire agreed. No way, Mirio said. He deserves to know everything. Besides, surviving this proves that we all have what it takes to be heroes. I'm not skipping over any details. Tamaki smiled. Of course you'd say that. But then he clutched his stomach. I was holding it up back there, but man, I'm still shaken up. Nejire patted his back. Well, duh, we all are. I'm sure once my brain is done processing this, I'll burst into tears. Or punch something. Or both. Mirio nodded. Just because we're future heroes doesn't mean we can't feel scared or discouraged. Do you think the villains will come back? Tamaki asked. Mirio thought. Can't say for sure. Our teachers and the police seem pretty confident that we're out of danger. He trailed off. But given how rageful Shigaraki seemed, I think it is possible that he might try something like this again. Though I doubt we're his main targets. Yeah, Nejire said. That's something I never considered when thinking about becoming a pro hero. We are gonna make a whole lot of enemies. People might hate us, or even want us dead. Tamaki inhaled shakily. Well, if that's the case, then I guess we'll have to work even harder so we can protect ourselves and those around us. Nejire punched him playfully on the shoulder. Oh, look at you, being all positive. Tamaki winced. She had punched his injured arm. Sorry, Nejire said. But then Tamaki started laughing. Pretty soon, Nejire and Mirio joined him. I guess this is how we're processing our emotions, Mirio said between chuckles. Nejire threw her arms around the two boys. Guess so. I'm so glad you guys are okay. And that we didn't have to go through all that alone. Mirio squeezed his friends tight. As a hero, there was a lot he wanted to protect. These two were at the top of that list. Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few things I'd like to go over before the video ends. Firstly, I'd like to thank all of our Patreons and YouTube members. Thirdly, if you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the stories of their namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Third, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fulfills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for new members to join us. Well, that's it from us for today's video, so thank you all for watching and have a great day.